Well, good morning everybody, welcome back to another video. Now I have to say today isn't going exactly as I planned it, and I'll just explain a little bit about why I'm here today, this particular location. Now over the Christmas period, some of you that follow me on social media, or most of you that follow me on social media, will know that I changed camera systems, and desperate to get out over the Christmas period, I came out with my new camera, my shiny new camera, and happened to coincide with the most beautiful snowy conditions, and I got quite possibly one of the best woodland photographs I've ever taken. Now my plan today was to come here and photograph that same scene in very, very different mundane conditions. And what I hadn't banked on was that there would still be snow on the ground, which clearly there is. And apart from that, up in the woodland, which is about 300 yards in that direction, it looks like it might be in a little bit of mist as well. So my plan to make it look really very different and as poor as it possibly could be, it might just actually be lifted that little bit with mist, if we've actually got any. I think we might have. But I have to say, this patchy snow isn't that pretty to look at, and certainly that will help make my point. But the point being is that I wanted to put the images on, line this one up today and put them on side by side. I suppose some of the idea is to see whether that shot would be just as recognisable in the conditions that we've got today compared to what we had a couple of weeks ago when it was absolutely beautiful. It's actually really quite nice. Damn it! Well, I say really quite nice. Yes, there's a little bit of fog, and if I'm honest, I'm not really sure if it's fog or rain, because it's now definitely raining. But there's no snow, so that's good. The comparison will work in that sense. And to be fair, when we talk about fog in our shots, it's nicer to have that light that's coming through the fog. So sort of when you're on the edge of the fog is when it's best. This is what we've got here is, well, like I say, you could actually argue it's rain or drizzle, but when it's like this and it's socked in, it tends to be not as creatively attractive as what it would be if you had that nice soft light coming through it, and it's not overly thick either. So I'm going to get my phone out, because whilst I've identified the scene, I want to make sure that the camera is positioned in exactly the same spot as it was when I took the shot, so that I can overlay and show them the changes properly. Now I do remember that the shot was taken at 65mm with my 35-90, so I've just got to literally try and find where the tripod was, and then I'm good to go. And what I think I'm going to do, this rain wasn't actually forecast, so I think we're going to get this one in the bag, and then I'm going to retreat to a little local cafe, get myself a brew, maybe some toast, and then just have an hour out, and then hopefully we can get back into the woodland and then start shooting some more scenes. And today particularly I'm looking for a nice little intimate scene with the new macro lens that I've got. I have used the macro lens before, but I've not coupled it with the new camera body yet, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. We just need the weather to improve. I came to the spot straight away. It wasn't hard to find, but aligning the positioning the tripod in exactly the same spot is so difficult. Just a few nudges here and there make all the difference into how the trees line up. And whilst I get it right for one tree, it's almost not quite right for another. Actually, I think I'm there. That'll do. That's certainly near enough. Right, time to get my camera out. And I'm not happy about doing this in this rain, but you say it's weather sealed, so Let's put it to the test. Right, so I think I'm just about there. I've set up the focus app that you get with that you can use with this camera. Enables me to actually shoot some video, even though this camera's not got video capability, which is what I didn't really want. But because I've got this app that links to the actual screen, I can video using the video function facility on my phone to create a live view of what the camera's actually seeing. So it helps because that camera isn't really lined up for the composition. So I'll put hopefully if it works, I'll put on the focus app screen view now. So as you can see, this, as with my original image, was the main contender, but gosh, let me just turn that back on. That's the trouble with these newfangled cameras. The minute you cover up the blooming viewfinder, the screen goes off. I know you can turn that off, but I haven't done yet. So I'll try and avoid that. So yeah, the main focus was on this. This was my focusing point. And what I tried to do, which was really critical when I came to take this shot, was create spacing between all the trees to make sure there was little gaps between every one. And where I couldn't achieve that, I tried to hide the tree, as with this one behind here, the bigger one, within the one in the foreground, so it wasn't as obviously chopped off. These two here, either side of the main one, is really critical that they flank either sides of that main trunk. I've just noticed that on my original, there's a little stump in the background here that I managed to hide on my original photograph. I can't do anything. I'm just not moving the camera now to do anything about that. I'm happy with where everything is. The crop is slightly different now that I've got from my original. I'll just go into my crop modes. I think, in memory, it was a 16:9 crop that I had. It was more along the lines of that. I can't remember what ISO I was shooting at. I have a feeling it was 100. I know that this one is certainly 64, and I'm just going to leave that for now. F16 I think was the same aperture. Shutter speed today is irrelevant by comparison, but I have a feeling the aperture, I should have checked that, I have a feeling the aperture was F16, but it's there or thereabouts. That's probably what I would have gone for this shot. But I do like the fact that this is a real good comparison now. The rainy fog, as I'm going to call it, has gone somewhat, and we've now just got some light rain. And I think it's as good a comparison in poor conditions as I can possibly get. Ordinarily, if I was going to take this picture as my keeper today, I would have put a polarizer on just to remove the reflections. But as I'm trying to make this as poor as possible, I'm going to leave that as is. So let's just check the focus. And I think that is absolutely spot on. And I'll put that shot on now, followed by the one that I took in those beautiful conditions, followed by this one again. Right, camera's away, thankfully. It's surprising really, the camera really doesn't do it justice. It's just how heavy this rain is. I'm wet through. I normally have a brolly with me and I forgot to bring it. I normally have a poncho in the bag and I took it out. So I'm now gonna head back to the van and just nip to the little local cafe and just take some time out, and hopefully we can get back out again. So welcome back to the video. So since you last saw me, it's been 5 days. It just didn't work out that morning at all. I went to the cafe, I got myself a lovely warm breakfast and a coffee, and then I went and sat in the van and probably sat there for about 2 hours, and I'll show you a little clip now of through the van window. The rain was just horizontal and it wasn't getting any better after those 2 hours. It was actually, I felt like it was getting worse. So I packed in, went home, edited what I'd done. I have to say I'm quite chuffed with how those 2 pictures look, but my idea was that I could probably make a whole video of just that little bit of a morning, but it turned out it was only 10 minutes long, so I've come to complete the video here today, which is what I was going to do anyway. I was going to go out afterwards and look for some more of the intimate landscapes that I really love doing. So as it happens, I didn't see a point in doing an intro for this segment because we've already done that earlier on. So I've come into the woodland just now and I've found a little shot just to get me started just behind. It's actually probably better than just a starter shot. It's actually really quite nice. As I stand here, I can't see it. Oh yeah, there it is. It's about 10 feet off to that side. So I'm going to get the camera out and talk you through that first shot. So just down here is my shot. It's in its raw state. I've not done anything to it. Hopefully you can see it there. I find it quite apparent, but then I suppose I'm used to looking for these things. It really jumped out to me as I walked past it, and it's just these 2 little fern fronds, male fern fronds, that are upturned, lying on a male fern frond that's the correct way around. And I'm not sure whether it's just, yeah, it is. There's a little piece, just hang on, there's a little piece just here where it's snapped and it's flipped over in the wind, and because we had all that snow recently, it's all become very compressed on the ground. And I love the contrast of this light green by comparison to the darker background. There is some grassy bits just poking through here and there that I'm probably going to pull out, but I quite like as well that we've got some nice leaf litter just at the bottom there on this, what will be the bottom left hand side of the frame, because it's not possible to show the whole of the fern with fronds at the background. There's going to be an element of it just down here where there's a gap, but the leaf litter there is still just as appealing, let's say, although in an ideal world I would have preferred the fronds to cover the entire background, but you can't have everything. So I'm going to get the camera out and let's get that done as a starter. Right, so there is my framed up photograph, and you can see that lovely dynamic line moving to the top left that flows down to the bottom right. Should add that this is going to be a portrait format, and then you got this, just move that out of the way. You got this frond going up here to the top right hand corner, and a bit of an opposing frond coming to the bottom left down here. I apologise, I'm having to do it this way. I couldn't get my camera to video through the app, unfortunately, this time, so having to hold my little Pocket 3 over the top. It's not ideal, but there you go. At least you can see what we're talking about. I've removed the bits of grass already from around about here, and there was a couple of little offending bits just here, and there was a little white patch just in the middle of that darker fern frond there that I've taken out just by using a stick, almost like a toothpick. So all I need to do now is take the images. So what I'm going to do is double tap the screen and just sharpen up my first one for the focus stack. It's nice and sharp. So that's the first one, and then basically all I do is I just move around and double tap in and resharpen and retake. And wherever I tap, if it doesn't look sharp, I will just take another one. And that's all I do. So I'll keep moving around the frame until I feel like I've got everything that I need. F16 gives me a reasonable amount of depth of field, but if you've not heard it before, depth of field decreases as magnification or distance increases. So you've got to make sure that you factor that into your close-ups, that you don't get the same amount of depth of field when you're doing this as you would with a wide angle lens doing a grand landscape. So bear that in mind. Just make sure you move around the screen, just checking all the various parts. And of course, when you've taken the image, you can check each one of those well, just to look how much of the actual frame that you've taken is sharp. But the key thing is that you get your camera directly flat over the top of your subject. Then you minimise the amount of additional frames that you have to take. So I'll put that shot on now. Now there's been an awful lot of wet of late, as I'm sure we all know if you live in the UK, and parts of this woodland are absolutely waterlogged that you wouldn't normally see quite so waterlogged as they are now. And as I mentioned in the earlier photograph, the snow has had an effect on the ground flora, or the ground vegetation should I say. And I've just come to this little patch here, and what struck me about this is how black these areas have become. Now there's a shot just down here that I've considered, and I am going to have a go at actually. Hopefully I can show you. So it's the inky blackness that I really love, and there's a stalk just here that runs up, and I want to use that as my lead in for this shot. Hopefully I can turn that round the right direction. So can you see this stalk here leading into this palmate leaf, which is actually a sycamore, and the gimbal's trying to sort itself out, but I'm really liking the looks of something like that with these ribs here on this bottom right hand side as well, which are actually quite light by comparison. But I think there's a lovely shot there. I do like the reflective surface at the moment, but I'm probably going to put a polarizer on just to try and have a look at what that might look like without. But I think there's some real nice dynamic lines there, but I think it's important to get that stalk just on that bottom right hand edge there coming into the frame. So this is actually a shot that I've taken. I can't show you in real time because obviously the camera LCD is pointing up at the sky and you get all these bright patches showing, which is not ideal. So hopefully you get the idea. You've got this lovely stem leading up to the palmate shape of the sycamore leaf at the top, and then as I mentioned before, you've got these beautiful gold lines coming in, just adding that little bit of splash of colour into the overall scene. But it's all about these two main leaves. You've got a contrasting stem coming in from the left hand side here, which is nicely positioned against this one on the right hand side. A very, very simple image. There was, again, like the other shot, there's a couple of little bits here and there dotted around, tiny bits of pine needles that have fallen on top, which I've removed. Just to tidy the composition up, and then I don't have to worry too much about it in post. Because this is an area that's had lots of snowfall on it, this shot was actually so flattened that I barely needed to focus stack at all. I just found that in this top right hand corner, this bit of leaf here was just slightly raised, so I've taken a second one of that. But overall I would say that certainly the biggest share of the image is all on one frame at f16. So I'll put that on now. So if this type of image is your thing and you've really enjoyed what you've seen today of the 2 close-ups that I've shot this morning, if you really like that sort of stuff, do consider my ebook, The Intimate Landscape. I've mentioned it on all my videos recently since I've published the book. It's an ebook available to download from my website, www.simonboothphotography.com, and it's full of beautiful images just like those. There's over 10,000 words of text, all about how I go about finding these images, my thought processes, and how I execute them in the field. Really nice book, very, very proud of it. So get a copy today and help support the channel. I'm going to put all the images on in just a second, but as always, don't forget to subscribe and leave some comments below. Let me know what you think of today's images. If you do want to support the channel more and the ebook isn't your thing, you can join and become a member of Patreon or YouTube from as little as 99 pence per month, and that really helps. If funds are not available, just give the video a nice big thumbs up, and always, please don't forget to subscribe. So until next time, I will see you very soon. Bye for now.